WTVM News Leader 9.
The legal challenge to Alabama's law requiring abortion clinics to have admitting privileges heads before a federal judge. Tonight on the news at 5:30, find out who took the stand first in this controversial case. And officials in North Alabama are fighting elder abuse in the state. We'll tell you how the U.S. Department of Justice is helping law enforcement battle the issue. Plus, Georgia's High Court makes a decision on whether the public will get to know who's supplying drugs for executions in the state. We'll explain the details on the decision. Good evening and welcome to coverage you can count on at 5:30. I'm sure Renee, thanks so much for joining us. Happening right now, a traffic alert in Opelika. Officials say an accident happened just north of exit 64 on Interstate 85. For now, one lane of the southbound traffic is closed between mile marker 64 and 66. And one lane on the northbound side is also closed. The Opelika Police Department is asking drivers to avoid the area if at all possible. News Leader 9 is checking in on this traffic situation and will bring you more information as it becomes available. The federal court trial over an Alabama abortion law that proponents say will make abortion safer and opponents say will close 3 of Alabama's licensed abortion clinics began this morning in the capital city. News Leader 9's Annie Hubble joins us live from our East Alabama newsroom with the latest from Montgomery. Annie.
Well, good evening, Cheryl. Good afternoon. The owner of an abortion clinic in Montgomery was first to take the stand this morning. She says that for 36 years, she has always used out-of-town doctors who wouldn't be able to admit patients to local hospitals as required under a new state law. The owner, June Ayers, was the first witness in the trial of the lawsuit that she and others filed over the law that requires clinics to use doctors who have approval to admit patients to nearby hospitals in case of complications. The state says they will present witnesses, including physicians, who will testify that will have a doctor on hand to manage complications and admit a patient to the hospital will improve the quality of care. Now, 3 of Alabama's 5 licensed abortion clinics, including Planned Parenthood Southeast clinics in Mobile and Birmingham, use traveling doctors and say they will have to close if the 2013 law is enforced. Coming up on the news at 11, we will have more from inside the Montgomery courtroom. Reporting live in the East Alabama newsroom, Annie Hubble, WTVM News Leader 9.
All right, thank you very much, Annie. New at 5:30, a new $250,000 grant will help address elder abuse in the state of Alabama. Calhoun County officials say they're planning to use the 3-year grant to train law enforcement officials on how to recognize and prevent elder abuse. The grant comes from the U.S. Department of Justice's Office of Violence Against Women. Officials hope the training session will help improve the way agencies communicate with each other to tackle the issue. Sadly, experts say elder abuse and neglect happen all too often. The #1 problem behind it, people don't stay connected with one another and know what's going on in each other's lives. Raycom News reporter Diana Crawford investigates.
In life, we depend on our family, our friends, and our neighbors for help. But in our old age is perhaps when we depend on them the most.
This is their only caregiver. When this person's gone, they're afraid they're going into a nursing home. So they will tolerate a lot to be able to stay in their own home.
Gail Nelson is the director of aging programs. She sees too many cases of elder abuse and neglect and says almost always the primary caregiver is the suspect at the center of the case.
Sometimes they'll make someone comfortable. They want to stay there. They don't want to force them. A lot of excuses that have been given for not doing the right thing.
In the latest case out of the Shoals, 59-year-old Maria Springer is charged with elder abuse and neglect after investigators say she let her 57-year-old sister-in-law, Pamela Springer, lay on the floor for weeks.
The sores on her are just unbelievable. I've never seen anybody that bad a shape.
Investigators say Maria told them she didn't initially call for help because Pamela didn't want her to. Maria finally made the call, but Pamela passed away Wednesday night.
People should call. Don't wait, call.
Nelson says isolation is the first sign of elder abuse or neglect.
Get to know the elderly person next door. Check in on them. Ask the right questions.
An autopsy is being done to determine the cause of death of Pamela Springer. Officials say depending on those results, the charges could be upgraded. For now, Maria Springer is charged with elder abuse and neglect and is free on bond. Georgia's highest court upholds the state's execution drug secrecy law, saying the identity of an execution drug supplier is a confidential state secret. The 5-2 decision was handed down today, reversing a lower court ruling that granted a stay of execution to death row inmate Warren Lee Hill. The majority opinion says keeping the identities secret can shield entities from harassment or retaliation.
Well, another nice day in progress across the valley. 81 degrees right now in the Fountain City, 78 in Auburn, 85 though in Montgomery, so a lot warmer the further south and west that you go. And we'll tap into some of that warm air as we go through the next couple of days. Really by the middle of the week, we should be back close to 90 for a few days. Out there today, we've seen a mix of clouds and sunshine. One lone shower down in southern Sumter County. That's pretty much it out there. Most everybody else dry. And as we take you through the next 12 hours, we are forecasting more dry and mild weather. Not as chilly tonight as it was out there over the past couple of nights. So don't forget about your chance to get your weather radios programmed or purchase one if you need one. This is our last event of the spring. We'll be at the Chamber of Commerce down in Eufaula Wednesday of this week for Weather Radio Wednesday. So come on out and see us, and we'll be back in just a bit with more on that 7-day forecast. Cheryl?
All right, thanks, Derek. The 198th Infantry Regiment at Fort Benning is now under new command. Colonel Richard Timmons will be leading the regiment. A ceremony was held this morning at the National Infantry Museum to mark this change of command. Timmons is a military graduate of North Georgia College. Colonel Jonathan Newman, who is leaving the regiment, has been reassigned to the U.S. Military Academy in West Point, New York. He will serve as the Director of Military Instruction. At the National Infantry Museum's IMAX Theater, there was a special showing of the events that happened during D-Day. D-Day 3D gives a narrated account of one of the largest Allied operations of World War II. Today's screening involved popcorn lunch and crickets, which were handheld devices given to the audience. Crickets were also used by paratroopers during the invasion. It helped them differentiate between friendly and enemy troops. We spoke with attorney Bill Scranton, who was invited for the viewing, and says he's impressed.
Well, it was just beautifully done, showing it tactically how it was handled. And sometimes that to me is kind of boring, but this is very informative, yet it's beautifully done. I was very impressed with it.
Also in the audience today was 93-year-old Charles Maupin. He was part of the invasion in 1944. The movie will be showing to everyone this Friday. Today begins Georgia Settlement Week, allowing those behind on child support payments to get caught up. The State Division of Child Support Services is fronting this effort. This way, non-custodial parents can make back payments in full or begin making payments to avoid additional enforcement actions. Officials say 9,000 parents were chosen to participate in Settlement Week. Beginning tomorrow, St. Francis Women's Hospital will be hosting a day of free health screenings. It's in honor of National Women's Checkup Day. From 3:30 to 6:30, women can visit the Sarah Ruth Carroll Auditorium in the Bettler Pavilion to take part in a wide range of free screenings. There will also be several medical professionals on hand to talk about pain management, breast cancer, and healthy eating while pregnant. We use food, drinks, pills, and anything else we can think of to get a quick pick-me-up. Coming up on News Leader 9 at 5:30, we'll talk about more natural ways to boost your energy. Also, a third case of a deadly Middle Eastern virus has been confirmed in the U.S. We'll tell you how it spread.